Hey guys, I'm Aditya Thakur and welcome to Get Set Code by Newton School. In this video, we will work with the JSON package in Python. We'll see how to use the built-in JSON package to work with the JSON data. Now, JSON is a very popular format for storing as well as transporting and exchanging data. And in this video, we'll see how you can work with it. So before we get started with it, Newton School is a platform which prepares you for your career in tech. It has courses designed for freshers, working professionals, and also for women with no tech background. It will first train you for like 6 months and help you become an amazing full stack developer. So they also have a network of 300 plus great companies. So after you are done with your training, they'll ensure that you get placed in the best companies in the country. And the best part is they have a pay after placement program. So you don't have to pay anything until and unless you are placed with a minimum 5 lakh CTC. Also brief about the Launchpad initiative, which is taken by Newton School to help people who have no experience with programming to learn these languages for absolutely free of cost. And there are videos available in the Launchpad section that you can watch and practice several quizzes and assignments related to them. So what I'll do is I'll quickly go over to newtonschool.co, and here on the website you can sign up, create a new account if you do not already have one. Since I already have it, I'll just log into my account. Now this should take some time to load. When we are there on the account, I'll just go over to the playground section. So under my profile you'll see the playground section, and go down to algorithm playground and create a new playground. Now you can also use an existing one, but I'll just create a new one, and it should take me to the editor where we'll be working. And here, before getting started, I'll select my compiler. Now since we have been working with Python 3, so I'll go for Python 3.8.1. And now let's work with JSON. So if you'll quickly do a Google search about JSON, you'll find that it's JavaScript object notation. It's a lightweight data interchange format. So we basically use it to like transfer data from the server to the web pages. And we can use Python to work with it. And for that, what we need to do is basically import the JSON package. Now this is a built-in package in Python. So I'll just type in import JSON to get the package files inside my code editor. And now I'll be using this JSON to perform the different operations. So first what we'll do is we'll create a basically some JSON as in x equal to. So this is like a sort of a JSON, as in I have my name and the value for it. There is year and 3 and college and SRM. So I'll again Google JSON, but I'll look for JSON format. And if you like open up an image, you will notice like it's sort of like this. You'll have your some name and then the value in front of it, and that is what we are doing here. Now what you can do is basically in Python, like if x is a JSON file, so you can use this JSON dot loads and pass that file to this function, and then you can simply print y year, right? So let me just try running this program, and what it should do is it would first take this JSON file. Now this x is a JSON file. You can pass it to y equals to JSON dot loads, and it would convert this x JSON file to a Python dictionary. And you can simply as we have seen in previous video on dictionary, how you can access the different key value pairs. So you can simply type in the key here and you'll get the value for it, that is 3. So this is how you can convert JSON to Python, a JSON file to a Python dictionary. And similarly, you can also convert from Python to JSON. For that, we'll use, instead of loading, we'll use .dumps. So if there is like a dictionary created, as in a dictionary is in Python is created using curly braces. So I'll get rid of these quotation marks that I had, and this would be sort of a dictionary. You have a key value pair, then you have a comma separating these different values that we have, and there you have it, right? This is now a dictionary. So initially we had those single quotations that were making it into a JSON type file. But now what we are doing is basically we are using a dictionary. A dictionary is created using curly brackets, and instead of using loads, I'll use dot dumps function and pass in that dictionary to this y value. Now what would happen is this dictionary would be converted to a JSON file, and you can just print it out to console, as in you can print the y value and you will get a JSON type file printed out to console. So this is how you can convert uh, into a JSON string by using JSON.dumps. So you will have this full dictionary converted into a JSON string. So that is how you do it in Python. And there are also different other objects in Python that you can convert into JSON strings. So there is, of course, dictionary, as we saw. There is also list that you can convert. You can also convert a tuple, a string, a int or float, and true, false, and none. So how you can do that is basically like, let me just get rid of this and I'll type in print. So I can use this JSON dot dumps, and inside this function, like we already saw it for dictionary, but let's try it out for a list. Now for list we use the square brackets, and I can pass in the names, like there is Aditya, so this is like a list. A dictionary had those key value pairs, but a list doesn't. So if I run this program right now, what should happen is, when you'll run this program, you will get basically a JSON array. When we were working with a dictionary was converted to a JSON object. But if you do it for a list would be converted to a JSON array. A dictionary would be converted to a JSON object, whereas a list would be converted to a JSON array. A tuple would be converted to a JSON array. A string would just become a JSON string. Int would be converted to number. Float would also become a number, and true, which is true in Python, would become true in JSON format, right? So these are like the different conversions, how they happen from Python to JSON. So you can just simply replace this string with a tuple, as in you can use the round brackets. Now it is a tuple, it would be converted to a JSON array. Similarly, you can also dump string values or integer values, which would also be converted to a JSON number, right? So that is how it works, and you can use this dumps function. Now in Python, when you're converting from Python to JSON, you can also format the result. So like the example we had previously seen, where we had X as a JSON file, but I need to convert it to a dictionary, and now it is a dictionary. But when you're converting Python to JSON, you can also format the result by specifying the different parameters. The first is an indent. So we use the indent parameter to define the number of indents. You can also define the separators, as in you can either use colon, or you can use like a comma or anything sort of that. So you can use this separators parameter to define that. Like you can type in indent equals to 4, and you can also specify this separators. So let us try running this now. Separators. And I also need to print it out. And there you have it. Like right now what you'll notice is basically instead of using commas, we are using this dot as the separator between different values inside this JSON file, right? And this is how you can basically you specify the two different parameters. One is indent and one is the separators. And you can also sort, so use the sort key parameters to specify the result should be sorted or not. So you can just type in sort keys equal to true. Let's try running this once. And now what you'll notice is basically the keys are sorted. So college starts with the C, therefore it comes first, then N, and then Y, year. So you can specify these properties also. So in today's video, what we learned is basically the first is importing the JSON package. So that is simple. You will just have to type in import JSON. And then what you can do is basically you have a JSON file, you want to convert it into Python. You can use the JSON.loads and you can pass in your JSON file and get a Python object from it, right? And then we saw the dumps function. So what you can do is basically you have a dictionary, you'll pass it to JSON.dumps and it will be converted to a JSON file and it would become a JSON object. But if you'll pass an array or tuple, you'll get a JSON array, and there are other formats that you'll get. Like if you'll pass in a number, you'll get a JSON number, like that. And we saw that dot loads and dot dumps function, and then we also saw what are the different parameters that you can specify. So in the dot dumps, you can specify the indent, you can specify the separators, like you want to change the comma to a dot. So we also saw how to do that. And lastly, you can also specify if you want the keys to be sorted or not. So you can use the sort keys and set it to true to sort the different keys. And the possibilities are endless, as in when you'll work with Python, you might need to convert some dictionaries to JSON files or JSON files to Python to use them inside your program. And this is how you can do that. This is just the basics of the package that we touched in this video. And if you're new here, do not forget to subscribe the channel. That is it for this video. We wanted to cover only the basics of the JSON package, and you can continue to explore it by doing Google searches and also looking up what else can you do with it. And thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe the channel if you're new here, and hit the notification bell icon to stay updated as we post newer videos. Thank you so much for watching.